We change laws. How easy is it to change a law in New York State? I don't know. But when you're the largest employer and the largest taxpayer in the state of Nevada, we can get laws changed pretty quickly. And we regularly do it.
Stories of Latinos voting, of Latinos organizing, of Latinos becoming citizens in record numbers, and of Latinos coming together to ensure that they have a voice not just in 2016, but in 2017 and beyond.
Hey everybody, this is Cyrus Hojadi. It's been about a week from the election results, and I just wanted to point out that it took me several days to sort of digest this. And when they were producing the results, county by county, until I saw the results of Washoe County, I really started to get disappointed. I got so frustrated, I just didn't even want to look at it anymore. I just went to bed and I moved on. And I don't even want to know the results. I don't even probably care about the results. And what's not the sickening thing is not the fact that in terms of the balance of House and Senate. That's not the worst part. The worst part is how the results came for our state. It's just so sickening to see how people who were really didn't have any really good qualities, didn't have any real value, people who have had scandals, all this load of crap were able to win. It's just so disappointing. Now, first of all, do I believe that the results were true? Very likely no. I believe that the results were likely to be skewed, manipulated, and it was largely done because of the efforts of the billionaires like Tom Steyer and George Soros. I believe that the voter fraud machine took a larger role. I believe that the efforts of the Culinary Workers Union, as well as other scumbag corporations like MGM Resorts, Jim Murren, did a lot to skew the results. This is the sad reality of what is happening. And I hate to say this, but I really feel sorry about my state and where I live. And I just believe that it's perhaps game over. It's game over for Nevada. It's game over for Las Vegas. It's game over for Clark County. I guess right now the only thing we have to do is just enjoy the remaining good things we have left. We just have to enjoy the remaining low taxes that we have, because it's likely that those things are going to go away. Enjoy our gun rights while it's still there. And enjoy living in a society that still largely respects our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. I mean, folks, if you guys don't change your strategy, if we don't get active like crazy and take to the streets, either I'm just going to have to move on with other things in my life, which I'll probably do, or I'm just going to have to pack my bags and move and get the hell away from Clark County. Now, let me ask you this. Do I really think that Las Vegas and Nevada is going to become East California? Not really, because California is kind of a different situation, different kinds of people. I don't think that we're going to be as Democrat as California, because number one, California had the very high real estate cost and the extreme taxes that made Republicans leave the state and a lot of them stopped coming in. California actually really has the dominant hippie and hipster culture, especially the Bay Area, because you have to understand that really the most liberal areas is San Francisco, Alameda County, not necessarily Southern California. Southern California was pretty Republican until the late 80s and the 90s. But that's, of course, changed when a lot of Republicans left the state and a lot of immigrants and minorities got into the voter rolls. But we saw that Cox did very well in Orange, San Diego, the Inland Empire. Certainly didn't do so bad in LA County. But I don't think that this state's going to be a lot like California. I think it's going to be a lot like perhaps Illinois, maybe a lot like New Jersey, Massachusetts. I don't know. Washington, hard to say, because Washington also doesn't have a state income tax. And Washington votes overwhelmingly heavily Democrat. But the point I want to make is that you guys need to change your approach. You guys have had this approach. It's just been horrible. It's just been miserable. And I'm glad a lot of my viewers are watching this, are Raymond, Serrano, Robert Crooks, Trish March. I'm glad you guys are watching this video because it shows that you guys actually give a damn. You guys have to change your approach. You guys, the Victoria Stephens of the world, the Michael McDonald's thinking like, oh, we'll just wait till next election. You know, we're just going to hope 2020 is going to be better. You know, let's just keep getting out to the polls. Folks, I think at this time, it's just don't rely on it. Now, I'm not saying don't forget about it. Go ahead and vote. But you guys are relying too much on the ballot box to get things done. You guys have to consider other avenues as well. It's kind of like saying, well, the only way I'm going to get a girlfriend is through Tinder. No, you have to try other approaches. You go out. And if you want to get things done, you guys are going to have to go to town halls, to public events, to city council meetings. You guys are going to have to march to the streets, take to the issues. You guys are finally going to have to really, really get out there and make a difference. You guys are going to have to demand for voter integrity. You guys are going to have to demand that we have voter ID, that we check the rolls, that we know that they were busing people in from other states or maybe from other countries to vote, that they were rigging the machines, that you have to know that the Culinary Union, and I have videos of this, that they were busing people in, many of them that are non-citizens, I bet, because a lot of them I've seen, they don't even speak English, that they're going out to vote. How do we know that they're actually citizens? How do we know that? Because they support illegal aliens, and we don't have a system that, as far as I know, to check. I mean, Barbara Sagaski told we've got new machines, it's actually better. Well, really? It seems like the new machines are even worse. Folks, I'm talking to you, Victoria Seaman. I'm talking to you, Michael McDonald. I'm talking to you, people like Megan Barth and Wayne Allen Root. You guys have to have a different approach. I'm getting sick and I'm tired of this mindset. Oh, just go and vote. Oh, we'll be fine. Yeah, well, the polls, these rigged polls, were working for us. Okay? They were working for us. They were telling us that our chances were very good. Okay? And meanwhile, the results didn't show that. And the results show that even in places, not just in this state, but even in places like Texas, where Ted Cruz was pretty close, Arizona and Florida, there were problems. Even in Georgia, there were problems, okay? And by the way, one of the reasons why Trump was able to win the 2016 election was because there wasn't a lot of rigging, as far as I know, in Michigan, in Ohio, and Indiana. So you have to understand that there's a lot of fraud. Now, a lot of people think, no, it can't be fraudulent. You know, Republicans have won before. They've won in 2014 here in Nevada. Really? Now, yeah, that may be true. But that was because the establishment was working with the Republicans, because those Republicans were part of the ugly Harry Reid multicultural BS establishment. Because in the 2015 legislative session, we had one of the largest tax increases in our state's history. So that's why that election didn't make a difference. But they didn't want this year to be working out for us, because they knew that we were going to give the establishment what they want. You have to understand that this is the Harry Reid establishment that's getting into all these other horrible candidates. And they are using, even John Ralston admitted, that they're trying to pump in as many as immigrants as they can to manipulate the election to make sure that they get the votes that they need to get the result that they want. And when they get the result that they want, they can pass the tax increases, they can go after our guns, they can expand the welfare state, they could do all this load of crap. You know, right now, this decade is in a similar position that California was in the 1980s and 90s. Okay? We have to rise up, we have to demand to push back. And I'm not just saying, once again, rely on the polls and the ballot boxes. We have to take to the streets. We have to be active. We have to form groups. We have to file lawsuits. We have to confront these elected officials. Look at what's happening in California. Now, one of the reasons why I might move back to California is because even though things are worse there, at least the people down there, the few friends I have, Arthur Shaper, Dora Young, Jesus Torres, Gary Galeno, they know that they can't just rely on elections. They know that they have to go to town hall, city council meetings. They have to try other avenues to make sure that they push back. They fought against SB 54. They fought against all these other horrible proposals for lawlessness and benefiting illegal aliens. And I just have to say, unless if your game doesn't change, it's totally game over. Now, what is, of course, interesting to know is that what really disappointed me about the results was the fact that the candidates that got elected were really the pro-feminist candidates. And I just really can't stand these people. Feminism is perhaps one of the worst things that's ever happened to Western civilization. You know, it's a war not only against me, but it's also destroyed women. And those candidates have won. And they are going to do everything they can to rig the family court system, to rig the labor system, to promote single moms. You know, we have to understand that this idea of empowering women is full of BS. And folks, this multiculturalism, this feminism, this is cultural Marxism. We are rising up. We are standing up against cultural Marxism and globalism. But whatever happened, the propaganda and the election rigging, the George Soroses, they wanted to make sure that that does actually go through. And I also wanted to point out that in our state of Nevada, they're not only rigging against true conservative patriots, they've also rigged the 2016 presidential primary against Bernie Sanders. You see what John Ralston did. And they also try to suppress other really good candidates in that party, including Ruben da Silva and Amy Vilela. They both ran for Congress. But oh no, the Harry Reid Culinary Union, mass immigration, MGM Resorts propaganda machine decided to support the Dina Tituses and the Stephen Horsfords of the world, as well as Jacky Rosen. Because notice how none of these candidates hardly ever talk about Wall Street, Federal Reserve, campaign contribution limits, income inequality, the issues that really matter. This is what's really, really sad about the Democratic Party, is that they have become the party of identification and useless government programs. Welfare programs, Obamacare, all this other crap. They've become the party of vote for me because I look different, I'm a feminist, I'm an emasculated soy boy. Because that's what it's all about. This is really, really the sad part. But remember, folks, part of the reason why we're getting these bad results, not just election fraud and propaganda, is because the demographics are not working in our favor. And this is why. Now, I'm very glad that Donald Trump has done something on DACA and birthright citizenship. But Donald Trump needs to pass. We all need to pass a real reform on legal immigration too. Because legal immigration has been working against us. Those legal immigrants, a lot of them support the illegals. And they want to bring their extended family members. They want their welfare programs overwhelmingly. Or a lot of them just don't care. They don't push back. I'm Iranian American, and I know a lot of Iranian friends, and I know a lot of Iranian family members. They're not out there protesting in the streets saying, lower my taxes, don't take my guns away. So the establishment wants those immigrants like Iranians, who are very obedient, hard worker, pay the taxes and subsidize the lifestyles of other third world immigrants. Because this is what we're come to. In California, we have a lot of affluent immigrants who are subsidizing a lot of the other lower income immigrants. But they're not really aware of the scam. So this is why we need a merit-based immigration system. People who come in, speak English very well. They're not a burden to our society. They're not using fake social security numbers and taking their earnings and sending it abroad. We have to have something that works for the American people. Okay? But it's not just immigration. The problem is the American people who value the Constitution, liberty, and all these things, they're not having enough children. And if you're not having enough children, how do you expect your country, as well as the entire Western world, to survive to the point that your values and your character remain? Because part of the reason why you have children is because you want to send your opportunities and your qualities to the next generation. So the birth rates are going to have to change. So Linda, you're watching this right now. We're going to have a change in birth rates and immigration. We need election integrity. And I'm glad that me and you were going out to city council meetings and making a difference. But we need an overwhelming large number of people to get out there and to actually step out and make a difference. Like an army of people. But we're not. Really, this has been election fraud. There's no question about it. And frankly, I have to tell you that maybe a lot of the Republicans that were telling us to vote, or telling us to vote for me, maybe they were really controlled opposition. Maybe they wanted to lose. Maybe that was the general plan. The general plan was to have, Republicans elected, giving them the illusion that they're going to do something in the last 2 decades, and then when they don't get anything done and make things worse, Dean Heller and Brian Sandoval didn't do much for us, and now we're at a point where we have demographic doom, that we're doomed to lose elections. We're doomed to have voter fraud. And that's just a sad reality of all this. It's really disappointing. And until we take to the streets, until we demand real change, we're going to have to start demanding some people in our area to leave. Because just by being there, they're supporting an ugly establishment. Or we have to hold these elected officials accountable. So when they commit crimes, we hold them accountable. And then I think we're finally going to make things done. And I know we can. I'm not only pissed off. I'm sure a lot of people who live in the towns of Elko, Ely, Pahrump, they're pissed off too. And I really don't think it's really the people of Las Vegas and Reno that want this. I think it's just some kind of a small minority that has a very large number of power of what's going on. So, folks, for now, I think it's going to be looking really, really bad. We're going to have tax hikes. We're going to have your property taxes are going to go high. I don't even know if I want to live here anymore or buy a house because it's just going to be too costly. But on the other hand, you can also argue that that will temper demand and it could balance things out. So in other words, it's kind of like the argument of Proposition 13 in California, where in California, the Prop 13 has helped pump up home prices. So if they get rid of it, home prices will have to start coming down. But speaking of California, look, I know right now in California, right now is in the mid-50s. I think right now here in Las Vegas, we're about to go under 40 degrees, especially with the wind chill. And I know they may have a lot of benefits of living there, but if I were to move there, I'd probably have to go live with my mom because it's too costly. And just to think that California, look, considering what happened with, the Congressman Dana Rohrabacher of South Orange County, and considering the fact that, can you believe that the voters rejected to overturn the gas tax. I mean, should I really move back there? I pay $2.79 for my gas, and in California, you have some stations that are over $4. This is ridiculous. So right now, I just feel like I'm stuck. I really am stuck. And I'm just very disappointed now to live where I am living right now. Folks, when you're at the casinos and you're seeing all these foreign-born immigrants that are working jobs that American citizens can do, this should be alarming. But we have the chance to overturn that. We have the chance to remove them, and we have the chance to hire people that are better serving the American public. But you guys need to take a stand. You guys need to fight back. You need to make sure that we take a stand. And I believe one of the things we have to do, we have to submit a letter to the White House and demand an investigation in our state's voter roll system. We really, really do. You guys have to take a stand. And I really don't know if I want to come to the Clark County GOP meeting in a few days. I really don't. I mean, for what? I just don't even know if I want to get involved in all this stuff anymore. All this politics, all this elections and stuff. You know, I have other better things to do in my life. I moved here to Las Vegas to build some neighborhoods, to design some homes, to sell them, to make sure that we build the most beautiful, finest places in the world. The fact that I lived in South Orange County with all these tract homes, and what a nightmare planning that Mission Viejo and Irvine has become. You know, I want to do other things in my life. I have to start focusing on my personal life. I have to start dating more women. I want to have a good time with somebody. You know, just getting involved in all this politics is just a bunch of pushback, anger, and all this other nonsense. Okay? But then there's another side of me that tells me, well, why should you let a bunch of buffoons get away with it? You have the power. You have the chance. And if you don't get anything done, well, you can sleepwalk, but before you know it, it's going to hit you. And at least you had the chance. You have the opportunity. You had to say that you were aware. You have the record of making a difference. I mean, I'm living a good life. I'm healthy. I've got some money in the stock market. So I don't know what to tell you folks, but I'm not too pleased living in this area anymore. Okay? And we're going to have to hold the people accountable. We are going to have mandatory E-Verify. We probably as a team have to walk around the community and, you know, storm employers and say, are your employers, do they have the legal right to work? Are they U.S. citizens? And then if it doesn't work out well, we're going to have to call the authorities. You know, I'm feeling a bit nervous right now. I'm feeling a lot of tension. Okay? So this is a message to all of you living in Clark County in Nevada, as well as other states across America, as well as the entire world. You guys are going to have to change your approach, because I'm not going there alone. I'm not going there alone battling people out. I may have to take many trips to Carson City and kick some ass. But if you guys are not willing to spend time with me and do this as groups, then you guys deserve to be hit with whatever crap hits your fan. You deserve to get your whatever handed to you. This is very disappointing. You know, why should I worry about this? Why should I be disappointed? I still should be happy about my life. But anyway, the point I want to make is that it's sad. The Culinary Union, the casinos, and the scumbag special interest groups like MGM Resorts, Jim Murren, they got what he wanted. They're now going to engage even more election fraud, pass more disastrous laws. And as Jim Murren of MGM Resorts says, he admitted, we change laws. We regularly do it. The same scumbag who started to charge for parking, the same scumbag who sold shares of stock before the Route 91 disaster. And now they're countersuing the victims. And now they have all these candidates to protect their causes. Where are the Democrats over this? Well, they're protected because now they have identity politics to cover it up. Where were the Democrats back in the day with the Sherman Antitrust Act to break up these companies? They're not what they used to be. It's a sad, sad reality. Heck, even Bernie Sanders even talked about breaking up the big banks. At least he wasn't all that bad. But sadly, we didn't get a lot of Bernie Sanders type candidates. We had a lot of Hillary Clinton establishment candidates get involved. This is the George Soros, Steyer machine fooling a lot of young people. They know that these soy boys and these feminists, the Me Too movement, all this crap, they know that these young people are vulnerable. They got to get into their fears. They got student loan debt. And this is how you get the results in the polls. This is the sad, sad reality. And we have to have voter ID. I go to a Las Vegas buffet and I have my card for a discount. They ask for my ID. So don't tell me that we cannot do voter ID in the polls. That's bull crap. And I'm sorry to talk like this because I have a runny nose. It's chilly outside. You know, it's wondering why I moved out here in the middle of the desert to deal with this kind of crap. But let's have hope. Let's be optimistic. We can come together. We can mobilize. But another thing I just wanted to point out that we have another thing that is working on our behalf, and that's technology. And I believe that much of the immigration and feminism and all these other things we've had was due to technology. Technology changed the roles of women. Technology allowed immigrants to come here by airplane. And that's where a lot of the illegal immigrants come, by the way. But I do believe that technology will be working for our behalf. Because after all, when you think about it, it is the jobs, it is the magnet that's bringing all these immigrants in and they're voting and bringing the results that these scumbag politicians want. Well, guess what? When technology is going to keep coming in for all these jobs, this is one of the reasons why the Culinary Union was about to strike and did so recently, because they knew automation was going to take over their jobs at the casinos. Well, guess what? If those jobs are going to be gone because of automation and the new jobs are not going to be the jobs that these immigrants can do, then perhaps we're not going to get these immigrant waves anymore. I mean, if I can push a button and a 3D printer can build a house, which I'm planning to do, I don't need illegal aliens to do the jobs anymore. So we do have technology working on our behalf. And I believe technology will also disrupt feminism, because a lot of jobs are going to disappear and we have low birth rates. So plus you've got female robots. A lot of men could just opt out of marriages and child support and all this other nonsense. So this is what I think is going to happen. But I can tell you this, that it's working on our behalf. And this is why I think the immigrant waves are going to slow down in the next decade or two. So one of the things we can hope is that gaming dealers, housekeepers will be automated. And what you really, really have to do, however, you have to make sure, and I know the Trump administration has done a pretty good job about this, is that he has cracked down on welfare use among legal and illegal immigrants. Because with all these anchor babies, with all these DACA folks, when there's not enough jobs because of technology, we're not going to have these people go on welfare and our taxes are going to go up. So if we can fight against welfare use by immigrants, and if we can fight that against the feminism, the single moms, then we can reduce the incentives for people to come and even stay in the country. Because they've talked about this idea of basic income. So anyway, the point I want to make is that I don't know what to tell you, man. I feel like this is game over. And I just have to say that E-Verify, demand voter ID, let's take to the streets, let's march. We may have to create a revolution. We may have to go into the neighborhoods that all these immigrants and illegals live and demand them to go. We have to really take this into our hands, because this idea of just relying on ballot boxes, this is a joke, okay? And frankly, I don't even know if I want to spend time with Victoria Seaman and Michael McDonald anymore. These guys are just trying to do something that it's literally just pointless, I guess. So do what you can, get it done. And folks, if things are going to get ugly out here, if I can't pursue my business goals, if I can't get what I need to get done, then I'm out of here. And it's very sad. You know, I have wanted to live in the Clark County area for more than 10 years since I was young. And it's kind of heartbreaking that the place that I've always had in my own heart is going to end up like this. Folks, this is social engineering. They are trying to literally turn Las Vegas. And again, I'm not trying to say I'm a white supremacist, I am a nationalist, you know, all these kinds of things. But the way that it's being done, it's evident that what's happening in London and Berlin, they're trying to turn Las Vegas into a multicultural hellhole. Okay? And again, I'm not against other types of people, minorities, but the way they're doing this is evident. This is all social engineering by the Soros, Harry Reid agenda. And you have to expose this truth. You have to get out there and make it happen. What is it going to take? We need a lot of signs. We need a lot of banners. We need a lot of displays. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, I just have to say, spread this video, spread this word. Let's make it happen. This is going to be a spark of a new revolution, renaissance, whatever. And make sure we have the right path to go. Change our approach, and we can make it happen. Spread this video. Hopefully this video will be spread. It will get hundreds of views, thousands of views. We need thousands of views. We really do. Take care. Make it happen. And I'll have more live videos tomorrow. I'll be at the Las Vegas Conventions and Visitors Authority. And by the way, I just wanted to point out that these radicals pretty soon are going to want to take over my city council. They're going to want to go after Michelle Fiore, Starvis Anthony, and people like Carolyn Goodman. They wanted to make a city more like San Francisco and LA. Mark my words. Thank God that our city isn't as radical, but you never know. Take care. Have fun.